Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the SmackDown report for the 25th of September 2020. I have found a secret to watching this program. It's to do so with the commentary on mute and only bring things back for the interviews. That way, you're not listening to a bunch of hype that makes no sense. You're just watching the wrestling and the promo storyline advancement. It made the show a little more bearable for me. Didn't make it perfect by far, but that's how I did it, and I have a feeling I'm going to do that, at least for SmackDown, for the next little while. Michael Cole to me is insufferable, and can't do much more of that. Anyway, they opened the program with a graphic of Road Warrior Animal, who's recently passed away. Intercontinental Championship Ascension match is announced. I think this is the stupidest thing in the world. We're supposed to hiccups there, sorry, and we're supposed to care about this Clash of the Champions thing on Sunday, right? And one of the big matches is the triple threat for the Intercontinental title, right? So ladder match, whatever. So we basically do almost the same thing here. Why? Just why? If you don't have enough content to put so many shows on, they're network specials. They're not actual pay-per-views anymore. Don't have one every month. This is not rocket science. Anyway, so Corey Graves interviews AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, and Jeff Hardy in the ring. They're going to hang both belts above the ring in a special ceremony. Graves notes the first ever Intercontinental Ascension match. Graves announces that there'll be no championship advantage. And then Graves points out that they all claim to be the champions. Zayn claimed Hardy should have done the right thing and refused the title. And then Styles basically says, well, you gave up the title to take the summer off. And then Hardy agrees with Styles, which is a weird thing. Why is a babyface agreeing with a heel? They raise the belts above the rings, have a stare down. Zayn then pushed the ladder into Hardy and Styles. And then there's a non-title match. All three guys worked hard. Can't take that away from them. But three-way, Sami Zayn defeated Intercontinental Champion Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. Styles sends Hardy out of the ring. Zayn takes control of the match, tries to get in. Styles gains control and slows the pace down with a chinlock hold. Anyway, Styles throws Zayn into Hardy. They get back in the ring. They go back to the chinlocks. Zayn goes into Hardy a second time. Hardy manages to run wild, hits a double drop kick on both guys. Hardy jumps off Zayn's back, nails Styles in the corner. Hardy attempts a swanton, but Zayn pushes him off to the floor. Zayn goes after Hardy on the floor. Styles takes Zayn out with a plancha. They fight on the top turnbuckle when they come back from the break, and Styles drops out and drops Zayn in the corner. Hardy takes control of the match, hitting a whisper in the wind on both guys. All three trade shots, middle of the ring. Zayn rocks both with kicks, and Styles responds with a Pele kick. Finish comes. Styles hits the phenomenal forearm on Hardy. Zayn threw Styles to the floor. Zayn pins Hardy for the win. Post-match, Styles attacks Zayn with the ladder from behind. Styles climbs to the top of the ladder, pulls down both belts, and poses on top of the ladder. Then we go to a recap of the stupid lawsuit angle with Otis. Again, number one, WrestleMania feels like forever ago. It really, really does, right? And number two, can you tell me that there's anyone above the age of, let's say, 10 that cares about Otis? If so, tell me who. If so, tell me where they are, unless they're in like a third world country and they see him as special because he's out of shape. I don't even know where the target demo would be other than kids. And if you're not selling tickets to live events, are kids really a good target demo right now? Anyway, Kayla interviews Otis and Tucker. Otis tells the announcer chick that you never trust lawyers. This is what his mother told him. He says he won't give up the briefcase. Miz and Morrison interrupt, and they promise that their lawyer will make sure he drowns in legal fees. And this is all filmed on Morrison's phone. Otis notes that he doesn't deal with situations like this in a courtroom. Tucker points out that only Miz's name is on the lawsuit. Therefore, Otis can touch Morrison, but not Miz. Otis attacks Morrison and beat him down until referees pull him apart. Really, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Anyway, so we move on to something good on the show, at least as good as you can get on SmackDown. SmackDown champion Bayley comes out. She's on the ramp. She's got the same chair she used to beat down Banks. She doesn't care about Banks and doesn't have to deal with her anymore. Bayley turns her attention to Nikki Cross. Basically says that it's thought that Cross will win because Bayley doesn't have Banks. Bayley basically insinuates, if that's what I would do to my former friend, think about what I'm going to do to you. Good promo by Bayley. Also short enough that it's not ridiculously time killing in a negative way. Shinsuke Nakamura with Cesaro defeats Grand Metalik with Kalisto and Dorado. I'm not necessarily a fan of the masked guys in here just because it's just not there. Metalik and Nakamura have a match that's passable, I guess. I don't necessarily like the style of these two together. Metalik hits a bunch of moves. He hits arm drags and planches and just crazy stuff. Anyway, so they start with a bunch of back and forth. Nakamura avoids the handspring elbow. Metalik sends him to the floor. Metalik attempts a sliding drop kick, and he hits the spinning heel kick. Nakamura takes control and slows the pace down for a front face lock. Then they hit the reverse exploder suplex, and Metalik fights out of it, and he follows up with a Rana, sends Nakamura back to the floor. Metalik hits a huge dive to the floor on Nakamura. Metalik climbs to the top. Nakamura pulls him off, hits a massive knee. He hits the Kinshasa for the win. So the heels beat the babyfaces going into the pay-per-view, which means the babyfaces have to get their win back, and no one's going to care about either team by the end of this, if anybody does even now. Cesaro attacks Dorado. Kalisto did not help his teammates, so we suppose Kalisto is going heel. Jey Uso approaches Roman's door, knocks on the door, really doesn't get a response. They show tweets of guys phrasing Road Warrior Animal post-mortem. This was cool. They show a video package of the feud between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, featuring all the family members. This was well done. Not as well done as the one last week, but still in the same vein. At least they're trying to get people to care about this match. They're not going to because it wasn't built up enough, but at least they're trying. Jey Uso makes his way to the ring. He discusses his title match with his cousin. Uso knows that Corey Graves should be doing more in the interview. Uso shows clips from last week, and Uso wants to know why Reigns smiled on his face but frowned behind his back. Uso asks Reigns to come out and acknowledge him. Paul Heyman stepped out of the locker room, addresses that Reigns will answer Uso on Reigns' time. Heyman promises Reigns would appear later when he's ready. They recap the already dead feud of Matt Riddle and King Corbin. I wasn't a fan of this when they did it at Payback. I'm not a fan that they're doing this at a rematch. Matt Riddle is a once-in-a-lifetime guy. You push him to the moon while people care. And I know that probably the argument would be, well, let's wait for people to come back. Let's say people don't come back for another year. Let's say the pandemic runs through the summer of next year. Like, are you really going to waste a year and a half of a guy's career based on the fact that you don't have a live crowd? It's just stupid. Anyway, so King Corbin defeats Matt Riddle in a match up next. This match just drags. Riddle goes after Corbin before the bell. They go to the floor. Corbin takes over, and Riddle attempts an armbar, but Corbin reverses it into a slam. Corbin nails Riddle with a back elbow and a near fall. Corbin attempts the running around the ring clothesline. Riddle counters, easy for me to say, with a Pele kick. And Riddle knocks Corbin over the announce table. They go to the break. They come back. Riddle has a triangle submission. Corbin powers out. I hate these spots when an MMA guy, a legit fighter, gets powered out of in submissions. Save the submission to the end and make it matter. Like, I just, especially a guy like Corbin, who really, yes, he's pushed like he's somebody, but in the end, I cannot imagine a fan going to a show to see Baron Corbin. Maybe when he was in NXT and they were doing the streak gimmick, but not now. Anyway, Corbin slows the pace down, beats Riddle down for several more minutes. Riddle makes a comeback, misses a running knee, but hits a senton, follows up with a running knee that he does hit this time. Riddle attempts final flash. Corbin counters with a deep six for the near fall. Riddle jumps off the second rope. Corbin catches him. They attempt the end of days. Riddle counters out of that, and he tries the floating bro. Corbin gets the knees up. Corbin hits end of days for the win. Post-match, Caleb Braxton interviews Riddle. He notes that losing sucks, but he's not going to let it stop him. He's not going to stop until SmackDown is a bro show. There's a vignette of a blonde woman, and she writes "untouchable" on a mirror. This is kind of goofy. Lacey Evans defeats Alexa Bliss. I can't believe I had to read that as a sentence. Evans and Bliss work a terrible, slow match that drags. And they recapped Bliss attacking Evans last week, going into a trance. Evans backs Bliss into the corner. Bliss rolls her up for near fall. And they go super slow. Bliss makes a brief comeback, knocks Evans down. Suddenly, Bray Wyatt's laughter echoes through the arena. And then Evans is in control when we come back from the commercial. And they basically make it to where the only reason that Lacey gains control is because of the distraction to the Fiend. There's a few stiff knees here, and then Bliss makes a comeback, goes nuts, hits some clotheslines. She pauses, and Evans misses a moonsault. Lights turn red. Fiend music plays. Bliss snaps and attacks Evans. Bliss wouldn't stop. Referee calls for the DQ. Don't understand why that's a DQ. I mean, yeah, she didn't stop beating on her, but still, who cares? Anyway, Bliss takes her around ringside, hits the Sister Abigail on the floor. Fiend appears. Bliss smiles at the camera as the Fiend tells her to let him in. And Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman walk by as Bliss makes her way to the back. And, it's there. Reigns gets to the ring. He basically, Paul Heyman speaks, and he's starting to speak. Jay Uso's music hits. Reigns notes that Usos one half of the greatest tag team of his generation. Thank goodness I didn't complete saying all time. That would be sad. Anyway, Uso can't be a top guy because it'll always be Reigns. Family depends on him and only him. Reigns and Heyman leave the ring. Jey Uso says that Reigns might be wrong. And meanwhile, Reigns is standing with his back to the ring. Uso noted he could be a top guy, provide for his wife and kids. He gives a promo that basically the family can depend on him. He's got what it takes to be the guy that the family can depend on. Reigns and Heyman leave. Uso celebrates, walks to the back. Reigns comes back out, hits a Superman punch on Uso, and Reigns yells that he provides for the entire family. He's the top guy, and Uso's never going to take his place at the head of the table, and stands over him as the show closes. I mean, they did the best they could with an angle that nobody really cares about. But overall, this is still a rough show. Better than most weeks. But nothing that makes me care about what happens next. Nothing that makes me go, I have to see what happens on Sunday. It just, they have too much programming, and it shows here anyway. We'll be back with the end of 1985 in the World Class Series, as I've got everything done through the end of the 85. So that'll go up this afternoon or tonight. Take care.